Dang.
I smell championship
Yeah.
for the Houston Texans. I think they got the ingredients.
Lying to America. You smelled them leftovers. You know damn well Thanksgiving ain't over. Watching that game yesterday, especially down 10-0, then going against almost a perfect passer in the opposing team and Marcus Mariota, I was like, this is going to be a tough one for them. And they pulled that one out. And it did impress me. And I think I'm going to repeat what Booger said after the game in terms of what the Houston Texans are now. Welcome to the conversation of being a tough out in the playoffs. Tough out means, oh, you're going to be in a fight if you play the Houston Texans. Oh, you're going to go home with some scratches on you. But they're going to go home. They're not a Super Bowl contending team right now, despite naming all the valuable assets and pieces they have. I'm looking at this team right now. It's an octane conversation we're having. You know, you go to the gas station. You know, if you're like me, you cheat. 87 every time. I don't give a damn. It could be a Ferrari. You're getting 87 out of me. But that's what this offense is. The state of Texas has passed legislation that no quarterback shall ever pass for over 300 yards, including Deshaun Watson last night, despite playing great. So, look, there are 87 octane. And then there's the Chargers, Pittsburgh, New England, 89. Then you get that 91 KC Supreme Techron. And that's what they're going to face if they get to the playoffs. Their tough out is going to be because they don't have enough octane on offense to compete with these high-flying offenses.
I think they actually can control the game. I actually like the way they play the game. Two most important stats that you look at for playoff teams: rush offense, because that means they can control the game. Scoring defense. They're fourth in scoring defense. So they'll let Kansas City and all those other high-flying teams move between the 20s, but then they're bogged down. Romeo Cornell, also a disciple of Bill Belichick, understands how to muddy up the game in critical moments. I like the way they play. Everyone has talked about the passing game all year, but you know the game changes after Thanksgiving. Running game, physicality, toughness, and the X factor that they have, their quarterback, Deshaun Watson. Last 6 games, he hasn't thrown the ball more than 25 times, but that doesn't mean he's incapable of. It just means that the game plan has been such that they're grinding it out. But because he loves the big stage and he plays well in big games, I am confident that if the game is on his shoulders, he'll find a way to win it.
I like them, but can they beat Kansas City? Can they beat the Chargers? Can they beat New England? I don't know. I don't think, especially if they're going to have to go on the road, they're going to have to, looks like. I don't see them winning in Kansas City. I don't see them winning in New England. I like Deshaun Watson. What he's done is first of all, he's got one of the best receivers in the NFL.
Yes.
And let's not ever forget that. First of all, a quarterback, you need, especially a young guy, you need that guy. You just put the ball in his area, he's going to make plays. And Demaryius Thomas, they are really settling in, getting him in plays where he likes the ball, which people are like, oh, Will Fuller, he's going to take Will Fuller's spot. They designed the plays around him, and give credit to O'Brien for that. I like this team. Defensively, J.J. Watt is a beast. He's right up there at the top. He looks like he's getting back into form, and he's only going to keep getting better. Confidence is good. I like this team, but at this point, I'm not prepared to say they're going to win the Super Bowl.
Let me push back on your deal that Houston's going to have to go on the road. Again, look at their finishing schedule as compared to everyone else in the NFL, and I think they have a path to get home field advantage in the AFC. Again, they can get to 13-3 or 12-4, I think at worst. When I look at their final, the Browns, Colts, Jets, Eagles, and Jaguars, the Colts are going to be a problem. Everybody else is out of the playoff race, including the Eagles, even though, I guess mathematically they can still win the NFC East, but they're not playing that well. The road to the Super Bowl in the AFC could very well go through Houston.
No doubt. And they've already beat the Colts, so you got to respect that. If you look at the teams that they have beaten, a little bit of bottom feeding in terms of the Colts, Cowboys, Bills, Jags, Dolphins, Broncos, Redskins, Titans. Didn't really mention any contending teams in there. Grandma's fish tank had that little sucker fish at the bottom. So remember that with that big mouth? I'm like, Grandma, what's that one doing? Just eating all the algae at the bottom. And that's what they've been doing, but gaining confidence in that process. Even with home field, I don't think I'm going to see a Patrick Mahomes who put 40 up in New England, regular season, went to L.A., went out there and put up 51. I don't think that he's going to be intimidated by going to Houston if that's the case. Whatever it may be, I think a team can travel to Houston despite their running attack and still outscore them.
Look, I don't think Patrick Mahomes or anybody is going to be intimidated. Everybody's a baller at this point.
Yeah.
I just think J.J. Watt and Jadeveon Clowney in combination with the other defensive players they have are just problems that I just don't know if these offensive lines in the AFC can really solve. J.J. Watt, for all the hype, and Aaron Donald certainly deserves it, and Khalil Mack certainly deserves it. He got traded. They've been stealing the headlines, but J.J. Watt just keeps chopping wood. 11.5 sacks. He's more effective in the running game than Donald or Khalil Mack. J.J. Watt is still the most dominant defensive player in the NFL, and the Saints certainly can't say that. The Chiefs certainly don't have anybody comparable. New England doesn't have anybody comparable. We'll see what Nick Bosa does with the Chargers the rest of the season, and obviously the Rams have Aaron Donald. But I just think J.J. Watt is still the man on the defensive side of the ball, and I think Deshaun Watson's best days are ahead of him, even this season.
I think the point about the trench play really matters because you talk about J.J. Watt. It's not just J.J. Watt. It's his partners that he brings with him, Jadeveon Clowney, Whitney Mercilus, those guys being able to create a pass rush. They're one of the few teams, they won't have to blitz to get home. So now when you're playing the high-powered Kansas City Chiefs, they can drop 7, they can drop 8 and still get a pass rush. I just like the way this defense is positioned because even though it's been a pass-happy league, we've seen all kinds of record numbers. The game slows down in the postseason. I just believe that they can make you play half-court basketball. And when you have Deshaun Watson, I think he can finish it if the game is like that.
Yeah.
You look at the running backs because I think that's where you got these good high-powered defenses that can get after that quarterback. I think what has really helped, first of all, the rules, the way it's set up for the offense to win. That's what they want, and it's what you see right now. But Kareem Hunt, I think that can be an extension. You're not going to have to sit back there. Andy Reid is a beautiful play caller. I think Phillip Rivers, Melvin Gordon, depending on how healthy he is, he's one of those guys that can catch those quick screens, those quick passes, extension of the run game to slow them down, slow that defense down. And then Tom Brady, who's been better in the NFL history of being patient and taking what the defense gives you. I love this team. I think, and I'm not going to be shocked if they get to the Super Bowl. But I just think right now, for me, those other teams have an advantage.
Well, let's talk about J.J. Watt. I mean, when you talk about he's different than Aaron Donald. Aaron Donald's playing amazing, not taking anything away from him. Khalil Mack, insane. J.J. Watt, if you look at his resume, 2 times over 20-plus sacks. 2 times, and then he followed that up with a 17.5 sack season. This year, 11.5. And this is a guy who's still trying to play himself into form, into shape, and into confidence, as you said, Tony. What's amazing about J.J. Watt is most offensive linemen have already given up a sack to him as soon as they see him on the field. Like this dude's superhero strength and leverage. We talk about leverage, which is coming from the root word lever. The dude's levers, his length, and the fact that he's forcing fumbles at a career rate, 5 forced fumbles. He can score. He can not only create opportunities for you to score, he can take it into the end zone himself. He's a disruptor. When you talk about playoff football, special igniting plays, J.J. Watt still is the standard for all D linemen.
And that's what I thought we saw last night. Marcus Mariota played a hell of a game. But J.J. Watt, and again, we'll talk about this later in the show when we talk about how to evaluate quarterbacks, but J.J. Watt and Covington and that pass rush knocked this dude down 6 times. Those 6 sacks, they're almost like turnovers now. Sacks are. They're so valuable. So even though a quarterback went 22 of 23 passing for 300-some-odd yards, they scored 17 points because of the sacks, because of the disruptive factor of a J.J. Watt. And so it's one of those deals where Patrick Mahomes, love him to death. He may put up huge numbers, but if they knock him down a few times and create 3rd and longs and things and get him off the field that way, the numbers will be great, but they will not score points just like Tennessee didn't last night.
J.J. Watt, and here you're talking about J.J. Watt coming back. I don't think anyone saw this coming off of back-to-back leg and back injuries. You didn't expect him to play at the level that he played at when he was a 3-time Defensive Player of the Year. But his ability to dominate at the line of scrimmage is a problem, and it's really more problematic because the guys that he has with him. Jadeveon Clowney can win one-on-ones. Whitney Mercilus can win one-on-one. So when you face the Texans, you have to figure out where we're going to slide the protection to, who do we want to neutralize, and the other guys can win. Most teams, particularly in the AFC, they don't have offensive lines that are built to deal with 3 pass rushes at the point of attack. The Texans have a huge advantage. J.J. Watt is leading the way, but it's the homeboys that are a problem.
You really? J.J. Watt's better than Aaron Donald right now?
Yeah.
Really? Khalil Mack, I mean, it's just I know, hey, I'll take all of them. I said it's the Ferrari, the Bugatti, the Rolls Royce. Which one do you want? But I really like Aaron Donald right now. I think right now he's playing at the top of
not
his
as
game.
effective in the running game, in my opinion.
I give you that too.
Not as disruptive in the running game.
Yeah, that's why they get gassed in their running game. And that's
Yeah.
what Kansas City should have did. You were saying when they played the Rams, like you're supposed to attack those pass rushers. Attack J.J. Watt just because of leverage, just because of dimensions. He's still going to have impact in the running game. He sets the edge. He creates turnovers. He's disruptive. And then he finishes off with a bowl and says, here's the sack force fumble as well. Next level.